employment or change in their employment or any changes that may happen in the status of their position. It's not only the right thing to do, but it's the legal requirement that we do. And when those issues are breached and brought before the public, that puts the entire school system, but especially the board as a whole, in jeopardy. If, as I understand it, if a person brings a lawsuit regarding their personnel situation out to the court system, the board can be named. But if it's identified as to who the individual perpetrator is, I mean, who the individual board member is that brings that information and makes it public, that board member can be held personally responsible and liable as well. I think that we've had several discussions to hopefully protect this board. We've had attorneys at our local level give us talks. We have the School Board 101 course that all of us new members are required to take as we become members, that outlines board members' responsibilities and legal requirements and that kind of thing. We've had attorneys from the State School Board Association present to us, and we've had our own state so-called attorney, Ken Sue by name, from Raleigh, to give us comments and suggestions about how closed session confidentiality should be maintained. All of them have been consistent in making known to us the manner that we should use as our role of board members to be responsible and not only accept our moral ethical requirement, but the legal requirement to keep this confidential. That hasn't happened on several occasions over the last couple of years. We've had individual discussions. We've had board discussions, again, at different levels, trying to rectify this. And we're told by attorneys at all our levels of advisors that there's not much more we as a board can do, that these breaches are really left to the public to decide at the time of elections. If those things are known by any member, that's an issue that can be brought up during the time of campaigns and elections. So I feel like we as a board are a little bit helpless in this situation. So what we've tried to do, and I want to make this public, and I'm sorry that I believe our newspaper reporter is gone, at least I think I was hoping he would be here for this, to try to at least represent us to the public, because what I'm asking, if we cannot do anything from a board position, I would like to ask that if members of our employed body in the school system or any public members, and especially the news media, hear of information that's brought out that obviously came from a closed session and should be protected information, that they would not take part and continue to disperse that information. That becomes like an ethical requirement on all of us as good citizens, as employees and good citizens. If something comes to us that we personally know should not be public information, it's up to us what we want to do with that once we hear it. And I think, being responsible citizens, hopefully we could appeal to the public that since this board is undergoing its own challenges with this, and that they help us by not continuing to spread information. It is helpful when that information is brought to us that it's out there in the public so that we can try to manage it differently. I think the other thing we've tried to do as a board with our legal advice is try to conduct our meetings as tightly as we can and make sure that we've got documentation that we've given these talks and to us as individual and collective board members by the attorneys, so that it's a record out here that the board has been informed and each of its individual members have been informed about what is expected and what is legally required regarding confidentiality of closed sessions. So hopefully if the board is named as an agent in a lawsuit. There's information out there that would help protect us as a board that we're trying with all the resources we have, and we've even discussed how to do our closed session business, whether it be by individual phone calls and trying to get votes on an individual basis. That would not allow discussion among the board, which has always been helpful. But we're just looking at options right now. No decisions have been made. I will appeal to individual board members. I know some board members are trying to make their own decisions about how to handle, since we as a board may be held liable. Some board members have stated that they don't feel comfortable staying in a closed session and would not be in attendance at closed sessions. I personally hope that doesn't happen, because when a board member leaves and is not present, that portion of our population is not being represented during that part of the business. But again, I can make decisions for me. I cannot make decisions for other board members. My point is, this is a very serious situation that we as a board are taking seriously. The other thing I will say publicly to whoever may be affected by this on the board, that just as a reminder, so far it seems that the perpetrator has been a single perpetrator. The word has come back to us from sources that receive the information that point to one source. I'm continuing to look forward so that I'm not accused of looking at any one individual on either side of me. But the information's back there. If this should become part of a lawsuit down the road, and that individual, through legal means of investigation, is determined to be the source of that individual can be held liable. So I'm making that statement there, hopefully, to get the attention of the individual members of this board, that at that point, the school system protection of us as a board goes away. And when you are held liable and responsible, if you're convicted of that, then any expenses that are incurred, any penalties that are incurred, would be yours to bear individually. So I'm sorry to have to discuss this in public. I wish it had not ever happened, but since it continues to be a problem, I've been asked as chairman to make one more appeal to this, especially as we go into closed session tonight to discuss, part of our business will be discussing a personnel issue. So with that being said, I would rather not bring this up for open discussion right now. I think the points are made. We can talk about this later, but we have been advised that these discussions need to be held in the public forum if it's necessary. So I feel like I've accomplished that goal. So at this point, I will ask if there's a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel and property issues.
Mr. Chairman, according to North Carolina General Statute number 143-318, I make a motion that the board enter into closed session to discuss a personnel issue and to discuss the acquisition of property.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you for your attendance. We'll move into closed session.